So now we are going to explain how to do or how to use the index using pandas and how to do slicing. Slicing means extracting a certain information from our data, only the information which we need. So to do that, we have multiple ways. The first way which we can use is by mentioning first the name of our or the variable name or the object name, and then after that square brackets, and then we need to mention inside the column name which we want to extract, the column name which we want to extract. So if I want to extract a single column, what I can do is I can write the name of the column between a quotation, So if you have a column like that in your data, that column is going to be extracted. So this is the first way how to do slicing for a single column. And then if you want to slice for two columns, what you can do is you can pass the name of the columns, but in this case you need to pass it as a list. So you need to pass a list of all the names of all the columns which you want to extract. It is not the same like a single column. In the single column, by the way, if I'm going to add another square brackets, it's also going to work. So you can take it as a rule, whatever you want to pass, whatever you want to extract, you can just pass it as a list, whether it is a single column, whether it is a multiple columns, but you just need to mention the name of the columns between a quotation. Don't forget that it need to be between a quotation. So this is how to extract based on the column. Now, so to do slicing based on the row, you just need to start with the data name or with the column name, and then open square bracket, and then between you need to write the starting index colon the ending index plus 1. So we have learned already in basics of Python that if you are going to write, for example, 5, it's not going to take that value, it's going to take the value which is on index 4. So what you need to do is, if you need to take the value of index 5, you need to mention here 6. So you can take it as a rule, the ending index always plus 1, Fine. So this is how to get how to extract the row. And if you want to extract based on the column and the row at the same time, that is also possible. And let us assume that this is our data. So the first method is going to help you to export, for example, a certain column. The second method is going to help you to export, for example, 2 columns and more. And the third step, we have learned how to export a single or a multiple row. What we want now, we want to export or we want to extract based on the column and the rows at the same time. So I want to get, for example, couple of rows and couple of columns. That's it. So let us see how to do that. To extract based on the row and the column at the same time, first we need to have a square bracket, and we need to write the row index colon the ending index, the starting index and the ending index, and then we can have another square bracket and we can highlight here the name of the column. Now, is it important to start with the row index and then after that the column index? No, you can start with the column index and then after that you can follow it with a row index. That is completely not important here. I mean, there is no any rule that I need to start with the row and then after that follow it with the column, nothing like that. So it is interchangeable, you can just do it the way you want. So I can extract based on the column only, I can extract based on the row only, I can extract based on the row and the column together. Now the second way to extract the data is completely different, So what we can do here, we need to start with the object name always, and then after that dot, and then I will use iloc. Iloc will allow us to use the row index. The row index means the original index of the column and the rows. Everybody knows that usually the rows are having some index, and we have seen that the index column will actually be added automatically. Now what happened for the columns? The columns can be extracted by the name of the header, but there is another way also. The other way is to extract based on the original index. So same like the row, we have also an index or a default index for each and every column, and it is also starting with 0. It's also starting with 0. So it is now up to you. You can extract based on the header, and you can extract based on the original index system. So here, if you want to use iloc, it will work only with the original index system. So let us see. Let us assume I want to extract these values. I want to extract these values. So I want to extract value which is number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I want to extract for these 2 rows and only for these 2 columns. Let us see how to write it. So what we need to do, we need to start by mentioning the row index, and then after that, comma, the column index. Let us try to do it. So first I'm going to start with data, because in our example I'm using data as an object, and then dot iloc, and then after that we are going to open a square bracket, and we will have a comma in between. And as we said before, here we will have the row index, and here we will have the column index. So let us start with the row index. For the row index, I'm going to use the second and the third row. So if I want to slice the first, the second, and the third row, so then I need to start with the index 1, and then colon, and then the index 3. Why 1 colon 3? Because as we said before, the ending index will be -1. So it's actually going to end up by extracting only the second and the third row. Now let us go for the column. For the column also same. Since I want the second and the third column, it is going to be exactly the same, right? Why it is going to be 3 again? Because the ending index is not going to be printed. So it's going to go until 2 only. It's going to go until 2 only. So what we are doing here, we are mentioning the index for the row and for the column at the same time, and we are using the original index format or system.